October is usually a month that we watch pass us by, looking ahead to the big game we all know is November. Just over the halfway point, the 18th brought great action to the state of Iowa with near perfect conditions. Grant Noble and Jason McManus punched tags on 2 great bucks, but they weren't the only members of the team hoping to find success. 492 miles to the southeast in Kentucky, Josh Honeycutt is gearing up for the 2-day early muzzleloader season.
All right, so it's been a fun season, and I'm doing my open not in the tree stand for a couple of reasons. For one, that spot is really close to a lot of bedded deer, but the other reason I'm doing it down here is because it's raining as well. It's been coming a downpour. It's started to let up a little bit here, but we've got plenty of canopy cover right here, and we have none up there in that tree. So, you know, it's Kentucky's early muzzleloader season that always falls in mid-October. It's a 2-day deal. My uncle, he sat the sunglasses stand where I'm going to go to, and he actually saw both GP, which I had a bunch of encounters with last year, and the 9. I've had 2 years of history, and hopefully, you know, one of those bucks will step out and give us a shot.
Last year, I killed my deer right down there out of the back of that barn. He was right out there. Pretty cool spot.
So many deer. I've seen probably 30. But we passed on that one good deer. He was a mainframe 9 with a split G2. He's just a younger buck. Wasn't what we were looking for, but a nice deer. I'm hoping to see one of our targets, but we're running out of time. We'll see what happens. More deer coming.
Matt.
Are you freaking kidding me? That's the big 9 and he's down. He came out right there. And that deer.
God comes first, then family, then friends, then white-tailed deer. And I'm so pumped up. This is the county that I killed my first deer in as a kid. And while we don't have access to that farm anymore, this county just holds something so special to me, for me. Deer hunting's just so special. It's so special. I have so much respect for these deer. So much respect for these animals. It's the greatest animal in the world. Oh!
Is this the one you saw yesterday?
I believe so. 4 on the right, 3 on the left.
Well, here he is. This is my 2020 Kentucky buck, a deer that we called the 9, and not too creative, but he was the only mature 9-pointer on the farm, so it kind of stuck whenever we started going with that. And you know, he's just a beautiful deer. He's just a beautiful, you know, solid high 30s deer, which is a great representation of what we hunt here in South Central Kentucky. That property is such a fun place to sit. I saw 35 deer. It's been a fun year. But what I'm most excited about is hunting here at home and spending some tree stand time and some blind time with my family and friends. And so it's just going to be a good year. It's going to be a good year. We're just getting started. We have plenty of big deer left to hunt, plenty of deer hunters to go after them, and hopefully we can capture some more adventures on film before the bell tolls at the end of the deer season. But could not be happier with how I used my 2020 buck tag here in Kentucky.
Back in Iowa, the chilling conditions of October 18th continue through the night, setting the stage for another round of potential excitement. 65 miles to the west of the urban zone that saw Jason McManus shoot his biggest buck to date, Mike Reed has ventured to his local urban woods. With the crunching sound of the season's first snow beneath his boots, he's hoping for a similar outcome as Jason. Mike's hunt has consistent action, but unfortunately, only does and small bucks file out into the beans. The evening ends and Mike continues biding his time, waiting for one of his top targets to show. That same evening, 45 miles to the southwest, Caleb Greiner is taking his first shot of the season at his number one target, a giant frame buck known as Turkeyfoot.
Alright guys, October 19th. Today marks the first sit I'm having for Turkeyfoot this year. Conditions could not be any better. I was coming from the north to come down here after work, and we had about 1.5 inches of snow up north, and probably about 20 miles away it's sticking. Temperature's about 33 degrees down here though, so the snow didn't stick, but still got quite a bit of moisture. Barometric pressure's up at like 30.2, 30.3 right now, so the deer should definitely be on their feet. But the reason I'm actually hunting here, the plot, is because I'm doing an observational sit. So far, Turkeyfoot has basically only stayed on the east side of the farm. He's always coming from the south in all of these pictures, so that's led me to believe that he might be in this little thicket. It's a good chunk of timber, but it's relatively small and kind of cornered off by itself, surrounded by a bunch of CRP. But the farmer did come in here a couple days ago. Looks like he just mowed that CRP off, so I should be able to see it a lot better now. As you guys know, we had a little bit of a drought here in southern Iowa, and the Big and BC did not come up or germinate as well as I would have hoped, just because we had zero moisture. But on the other side of the plot, where I was able to draw some water up out of the creek with that generator this summer, the Big and BC came up pretty well. You can see it on the other side of the plot. Looks a lot better than this side, but I also put about 200 pounds of rye, winter rye, to the acre on the plot as well, and it's coming up, germinating super well. So there's plenty of green forage out here for them. Like I was saying earlier, conditions could not be any more favorable. I mean, it's 30s for a high today, which is very uncommon here in Iowa, especially the middle of October. I think it's going to be a really good night, guys. Fingers crossed we can lay our eyes on Turkeyfoot or any of these other mature bucks on this farm. It's crazy, but there is an incredible amount of mature deer and bucks in general on this farm for how small it is.
Caleb's evening comes to a close with a solid 4-year-old buck who reads the script perfectly, but unfortunately, turkey foot is a no-show and the chase for the giant continues. The following afternoon, 40 miles to the east of Caleb, Jared Mills is taking another shot at the Big Ten.
Alright, it's October 20th. Connor and I are settled in here. We're out on the property where the Big Ten lives, and I don't have a lot of faith in the spot we're in. Tonight's wind, we got a southeast wind. It's a really tough wind for this property and the access of it. This deer has been pretty elusive on camera even. I'm not sure if he's living on the property or living somewhere else, but if he's living on the property, he's doing a heck of a job of avoiding all my trail cameras I have set up for him. But I've talked about this before with individual bucks and their personalities. Since I started hunting this deer mid-November last year, it's held pretty true that he's just not a real aggressive buck. He doesn't work a lot of scrapes. Not to say he doesn't, but it's really quick, just more of a scent check and walk away. And I don't get very many pictures of him in general. They're all a little bit different, but his personality makes for some tough patterning from what I'm seeing so far. So as I don't expect to see a lot tonight, but at least wanted to get in the tree. It is another chilly October evening. We've had a little string of them here before it warms up again tomorrow or Thursday. So you never know. He might surprise us. Maybe he's living out here somewhere. I'm not sure, but we'll see what happens tonight. Hopefully we can at least see some deer moving through. He comes right to us. And back. Straight back in there's not bad. It's not big, but he's better than these other ones. You see him? We're about to pack up, and like I mentioned, I didn't have high expectations. Pretty slow night, just a few small bucks, but at least they were all fired up. I'm gonna be out of the woods for the next couple days due to work, but it's supposed to cool off after that, and I'm excited to hopefully hit it hard. It's been oddly slow for me. You know, my target bucks just have not been showing up, and I figured this time of year with this weather it'd be good, but keep saying it, but it should pick up soon. Once we hit, these next few days and to the end of the month, in my opinion, is the best time to kill a resident buck. So I'm gonna try to hit it hard. If this Big Ten isn't showing up, so we'll see. It'll be interesting to see who shows up and when, but I know the best hunting is coming right up.
The warm-up Jared mentioned arrives, and the mercury returns to normal. Despite the conditions, team member Max Mongrello only has a few days to hunt, and he intends to make the most of them.
Good afternoon. It is October the 22nd today. It's a little after 5 o'clock, and Grant and I are just getting tucked up in this tree. We did a hanging hunt here on a permission farm of ours. This is a farm that we have several target deer on. It's a farm that's a little bit further away from our house than we'd like it, so we don't make it down a ton. And honestly, this year, with as busy as me and Grant have been with other projects and running camera, we haven't had much time. This is only our third or fourth sit on this farm, and this is actually the same farm that Grant had the encounter back in early October with that big 10 out in the field that's actually over my shoulder. On the top of the hit list, there's a deer that we're calling Eddie. It's a giant, I believe the mainframe 10 with crazy tine length. He's just an awesome deer. And another deer who's actually probably surpassed Eddie on the hit list is a deer that just showed up that we're calling Davy Jones. And the reason for that is he's actually blind in his left eye. He's got points and stickers going everywhere, and he actually was not on just one camera, but on every camera the last card pull. Like I said, it's October the 22nd, and here in Iowa we have a really great weather front moving in. Actually overnight, it's actually unfortunately pretty warm tonight. It's almost 80 degrees. We have a rainstorm moving in just after dark. It's going to rain all night into the morning and break up hopefully right at sunrise. So one of our main motivations for coming in here to hang this set is to hopefully hunt it right back again in the morning. We've got a southwest wind right now blowing our scent to this cut bean field. In the morning it'll be northwest. Luckily still blowing our scent to this cut beans. This little patch of timber we're sitting on is actually a pretty big funnel leading from what we believe to be a lot of bedding to some ag fields across the road. Luckily enough, again, the neighbor's corn across the road was just cut in the last 4 or 5 days, so things are setting up really well. Not necessarily for tonight with the weather, but for the next couple of days, so you never know what can happen. We have a scrape right here with the camera that's getting hit quite often, but we're in here after Eddie and Davy Jones, hopefully to send Davy Jones back to his locker tonight.
That's a good looking deer in that.
Where's he at? Dang it, dude, where's he at? It's like 40.
He's in that thick sneak. I know.
He's 40 over there. He's gonna hit that screen.
She's all over. Man, I barely can't see him.
He's gonna have to come from the right. No. I feel like I hear a deer behind you.
I don't even. Oh, dude.
You got him right there.
Yep.
Please. I don't know which trail it is. It's 30 trail.
Get ready. Take your time, okay? Take your time.
Meh.
Take another step.
Down the field. Down the field. Down the field.
Let him go. Let's go. Dude. Come on, baby. Come on. Come on. That's the craziest thing that's ever happened. Oh, dude, you smacked him. Dude, I just shot Grant's buck in 120. I just shot that buck that Grant almost killed.
Max!
We had 302 years coming.
Dude, it's like it's 73 degrees.
We had a doe and 2 yearlings come in to under our tree, and she picked us off. And she was just sitting there staring, and she would stomp, and she was blowing. And here he comes, and he got in our mock scrape. He shot it at 35 yards, and I slowed down.
Dude, congratulations.
Dude, he's got freaking.
Well, Grant and I just climbed down and pulled down that set. My arrow's over here 5 yards away. I'm pretty sure I saw him go down the field. I'm not 100% sure. I couldn't see him from the stand. We're gonna check out the arrow and then take up the blood trail. That is awesome. Feels so good to turn one red. I didn't go anywhere. Oh my Lord. Oh. Well, here we are the next morning, and as you can probably hear on the audio, this front has now moved through Iowa. It's brought some high winds and some really, really great weather. It's only about 40 degrees right now here at almost noon. But I wanted to take a few minutes and talk about this deer and Grant and I's experience on the farm that we hunted this deer on. This farm that we hunted is a new farm to Grant and I for 2020. That's our first year with permission on that farm, and first of all I wanted to say a special thanks to Sam, who is the guy that got us hooked up with that farm and got us the permission, so I really appreciate it, Sam. Yesterday was actually somewhat of a miracle. A lot like Drake's hunt last year for his big deer. It's kind of one of those scenarios where you don't know if you don't go, and so, man, I was on the road filming some stuff for another project in the Dakotas and was able to get back just before lunch yesterday, and Grant and I decided to hop in the truck and head down to the farm. And man, am I sure glad that we did. This year has been a lot of fun. It's been quite the adventure moving to Iowa. Now I've been a resident for over a year, and I've really had a really great time. Grant and I are running around, gaining some permission, running cameras, doing what we do, filming and editing. It's been an absolute dream. I mean, I moved from Georgia to chase this passion and desire I have, and man, am I sure glad I did. So I don't have a lot of other things to say besides thanks to Grant for sticking along with me this whole year, running camera. We've had a great season, switching back and forth. Grant was able to harvest bob while I was on the road, and so super proud of him and pumped for that. And we're out of tags until December, so what a season it's been for the guys. This October has been unbelievable. I mean, you can't fathom the amount of encounters and harvests that the Midwest Whitetail team has had already, and we're not even in November. So I know a lot of great things are on the horizon. Jared's getting in tighter to that Big Ten. There's a lot of people with new deer showing up, and I'm excited for what the team's gonna have in store for you guys for the rest of the year. So appreciate everybody watching, and we look forward to the next one.
Max Mongrello wasn't the only one hoping to punch a tag on the evening of October 22nd. 400 miles to the north, team member Rick Vergin is on his northern Wisconsin farm, experiencing polar opposite weather conditions.
Welcome to Midwest Whitetail. I'm hunting in a blind we call the Pines blind tonight. It's the afternoon of October 22nd. The reason I'm hunting here is I'm hunting for a specific buck that we call Baldy, and he has been out in front of this blind multiple times in shooting light over the last couple of weeks. He basically has been tormenting me every time I don't come to this blind and stand. He's out in front of it, splashing around in the pond and doing all kinds of things that basically sticking his tongue out at me. I'm hunting here tonight. It's kind of rainy. We had about 8 inches of snow on Tuesday. This blind has been just smoking hot with deer, just covered up with bucks and does and deer of all kind. Tuesday night I was in here. We got about 8 inches of snow on Tuesday. I wasn't sure there'd be that many deer out because it was storming pretty good when I was here, but there was deer all over the place. Probably saw 8 or 9 bucks. Several of the mature bucks that we've been looking at and just decided that they're too young or there was a better buck that we were after. Wednesday night, which would be last night, we had 2 good bucks out in the field along with 6 or 7 other bucks. A buck that we call Yuma, who's a 3-year-old 10-point, and a buck that we call the split G2 buck. Both of those last night were eating soybeans like crazy. And that was part of our plan, is to have some green out in front that they can eat, and then also have the soybeans there for protein, along with having the pond there for water, because when they start running they get awful thirsty, and the water is real important. We've had really good luck in the past out of this blind. Stick with us and we'll see what we can come up with. I see there's some deer coming out now. That was the buck I was in here for. He's a buck called Baldy. I think I hit him pretty good. I thought maybe he was gonna go down out in the beans out there, but then he made it back into the pines. It's one of the earlier times for bucks like him to be out in the daylight. I mean, it's October 22nd, and just kind of crazy that so many mature bucks are out running around. So anyway, I'm gonna give him about 20 minutes and then we're gonna go take a look and see if we can find him. He's spraying it out pretty good here. Blood over here. Boy, you wouldn't think he'd go. There's some more blood. Oh, here he comes back this way now. There he is. Ha! That would be Baldy. Right there. And this is his bent over tine that got him his name. Every time we're able to kill a whitetail, or like this year Casey got a real nice elk out west, I really thank God for the great country that we live in, that we can go out on our own property or on public property and hunt for whitetails or elk or antelope or mule deer. What a great country we live in. We're so blessed to be born here and to be able to take part in all this stuff. Well, with that, I think it's time to get a tag on him and get him gutted out and get him back up and get him hung up.
It's just going to be a good year. It's going to be a good year. We're just getting started. We have plenty of big deer left to hunt, plenty of deer hunters to go after them, and hopefully we can capture some more adventures.
In my opinion, is the best time to kill a resident buck. So I'm going to try to hit it hard. If this deer, this Big 10, isn't showing up, I'm going to have to probably move to one of the other ones.
And I'm really just waiting on Ali to show back up. You know, it's been about 12 days since he's been on camera.
Moving to Iowa now, I've been a resident for over a year, and I've really had a really great time. Grant and I are running around, gaining some permission, running cameras.
I really thank God for the great country that we live in, that we can go out on our own property or on public property, and what a great country we live in. We're so blessed.
The Green Haven of October continues to be the gift that keeps giving for the bow hunters of the Midwest. Seemingly, every few days a new weather front arrives that shuffles the deck, causing the bucks we are hunting to make the daylight mistake. Max and Rick's bucks show that despite the stake we put on weather conditions this time of the year, the best odds for success are to be there and to be ready. The best part about the whole thing, though, it is only going to get better from here. 1 week stands between us and the main event. And while our anticipation is high, history shows that we have some great hunting in front of us. So for now, we will take it day by day, soaking in the journey until we are once again chasing November.